Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name's Katie Stolman. I'm with O'Reilly Media, and I'll be your host for today's webcast. We'd like to begin today's presentation by saying thank you to our sponsor, Keynote, and let you know that Keynote is trusted by some of the world's best-known brands to help them make every digital interaction count. Now a part of Dynatrace, Keynote offers cloud-based testing, monitoring, and performance analytics solutions for web and mobile. Their customers analyze more than 700 million mobile and website performance measurements each day to keep their apps and sites both reliable and delightful for users. Thank you again, Keynote. Our speaker today is Michael Montega, presenting Web Performance Delivered: How to Get Effective Feedback and Seamless Monitoring. Michael is currently Senior NOC Analyst for Constant Contact, a technology company championing the needs of small organizations to build successful, lasting customer relationships. Formerly, Michael was a computer programmer for the U.S. Air Force and held various support-related roles within the financial and software industries, with focuses on monitoring, service management, incident management, and problem management. I'll turn the program over to Mike in just a moment, but first let me go over a few housekeeping things to help you get the most out of today's webcast. First, you'll want to open the group chat widget if you haven't already done so. This is where we'll interact with each other during the event and where you'll submit your questions. We find that our audience usually has a lot of good knowledge to share, so we encourage you to chat freely during the event. However, if you have questions for Mike, please preface them with the capital letter Q so we'll know that it's for him and we can make sure he sees it when he is ready to do question and answers. You can also open, move, and resize any of the other widgets. If you'd like to tweet from the Twitter widget, you'll need to give it permission to access your account. Our hashtag today is VelocityConf, all one word, and the Twitter widget will automatically append that to your tweets so you don't have to. If you have any problems during the event, we encourage you to look at the help widget, which is very thorough. But if you continue to have problems, post in the chat room and one of our staff will help. For choppy audio or stalled visuals, try refreshing your window. And remember that the best thing you can do for a good audio stream is close any apps that could be interfering. We are recording this event and will send an email to everyone who registered when the recording is available, and that's usually within 48 hours. And at this time, I'd like to turn the program over to Mike for his presentation. Hi, Mike.
Hi, this is Mike Montega, coming at you from Waltham, Massachusetts, headquarters for Constant Contact. We are a Keynote customer, and I'm just going to go through a slide deck that we put together. Things we're going to go over are Constant Contact and the challenges of being an email marketing firm, an overview of our NOC, our Network Operations Center, how our NOC and Constant Contact uses Keynote, and maybe what we're looking forward to do. So, who is Constant Contact? Well, Constant Contact is a company that helps small businesses do more business. Small business could be your bakery down the street that employs 4 people and all they want to do is sell muffins. It could be your local yoga studio, or it could be a nonprofit. One example of a nonprofit is a group called More Than Words, and they provide job training for at-risk youth. And the kind of training that they do give them is through a cafe that they have, so people can learn barista skills. They write a newsletter, which is sent out via Constant Contact software. And they also have an online book business. We've been revolutionizing the success formula for small businesses and nonprofits since 1998. We have over 600,000 customers worldwide, and we do have an award-winning coaching and product support. We offer an all-in-one marketing platform that helps these small businesses drive repeat business and find new customers through newsletters, announcements, different offers, online listings, event registrations, and such. Some interesting facts is that we have reached $331 million in revenue. We have sent, on behalf of our customers, 365 million emails in a day. We have peaked at 904,000 emails delivered in 1 minute, and we've sent about 68 billion emails on behalf of our customers. We are at around 1,400 employees, and we're continuing to grow. We have offices in Waltham, Massachusetts, in Loveland, Colorado, Boca Raton, Florida, the Tribeca area in New York City, in Battery Park in New York, and San Francisco, California. And we do have a presence as well in the United Kingdom. Our customer base is as follows. About 80% of our customers have less than 25 employees. About 65% of our customer base has 10 or less employees. Now I'm going to give an overview of what the NOC responsibilities are here at Constant Contact. Like most NOCs, we are put into action mainly when things go wrong. We're a little bit unique, and we're sort of a hybrid of a NOC. We do work as a liaison between product delivery teams, coordinating monitoring, trending, admin procedures, tech support, some app support. We do coordinate and take part in communications with third-party vendors. We create incident tickets. We perform initial triage. We resolve in some cases, or if it's really that bad of a situation, we will escalate to the appropriate teams. We're responsible for our outage notifications. We establish conference calls between tech ops and development teams, and we'll also send out notifications for production issues based on guidelines we have. And we do host daily meetings. We review critical and major incidents. We review the next 24 hours as well as the past 24 hours. And we do offer proactive monitoring on all of our products and services. And we do add that first level support. We're also responsible for incident management. We champion the post-mortem process and outage notifications. We deal with problem management. We support just about all maintenances that are going on, and we do coordinate activity. So impact to customer experiences using Keynote. Well, Keynote has what they call agents all over the world. Think of it as machines with different geographic locations. Within North America, we use 25 agents, and outside of North America, we use 11 agents. Within the NOC, we do application monitoring, website, user interface, API monitoring. We have a measurement repository. We use Keynote measurements during our postmortems. And we also use some of those measurements to report daily, weekly, and year-end. Within Constant Contact, the NOC is not the only team to use Keynote. We also have some of our development teams, such as looking at API latencies for different APIs. Network engineering will use it for ISP-specific issues that may come up, general network troubleshooting. The website team uses it. They get reports daily and weekly, and our growth is only growing with Keynote within our organization. So we're going to pose a question out there for poll, and you may see it come up on your screen now or very soon. Simply answer yes or no to, are you currently a Keynote user? And I'll give about 45 seconds for people to respond. Also, this is a good moment to add any questions on what you have heard so far, whether it be a question about constant contact in general, or it be regarding the knock at constant contact. All right, so when we look at the result of the poll, it looks like about 90% of the listeners are not currently using Keynote, and about 10% are. Happiness, something we all want to achieve. But for us in the knock at constant contact, using the Keynote product, happiness is our measurements, how we want them. Or for you, it may be your measurements, how you want them. So a simple case study. We have an environment consisting of 12 separate cells. We know if our overall service is down, but is there a way that we can have insight to each individual cell? Well, there is. And through Keynote, you can see the graph that is up there on the screen right now. And it shows an example of 12 separate cells. You can see performance statistics, and you can see availability. But it doesn't show you over how long or how many measurements. But of course, management likes pictures. So we can show them more data. We can have commingled performance. We can have commingled availability. But what do those lines mean? Management may say, wow, that's great, but that sure is a lot of screens to look at. Well, we can solve that. One screen with a combination graph. Although it's very small on your screen to see right now, we can see in the upper right, that's the first slide shown, and then the other two slides that were previously shown are on there as well. We find that a very useful tool here when trying to get data out or statistics out. On that screen, you can toggle individual measurements as well. So if you want to see one cell or two cells, you can actually compare them very easily. And you can also see some outliers. Someone may ask, is it really taking that long? And it may just be one check in Sydney, Australia, coming across halfway across the globe. Can we specifically pinpoint service disruptions? Yep. Unfortunately, it happens. We do get disruptions in service just like everyone else. And we can pinpoint them. Disruptions are easy to see. Good old-fashioned red is bad, green is good. Even though we're not focused in, we can see from afar that section of red in this display. We can pinpoint specific time ranges as well in a table view sorted by time. If we look at this screenshot right here, we can see that at 6:06, we received an internal server error. And that status continued up until 6:10. Here at Constant Contact, we make several API calls per hour to Keynote, and we take our measurements and we ingest them. Our scripts insert measurements into our local database. Each transaction gets its own table. We have approximately 80 tables at this point, and we have one table with Keynote agents to use for querying. We also have custom searches outside of the Keynote UI. And what that does, it gives us the ability to do deep dives, go back quite a ways. We have 2+ years worth of data, and we have over 31 million rows of data. So that brings us to, well, what is that data? So what? Why do we have it? And where are we going? What are we going to do now? Well, one thing we can use that for, and it seems to be very useful and people outside the NOC are interested in it, is for trending. An example here, and this is an actual example that we had noticed, was when we do our monthly reports, we had noticed that latency over one of our websites was increasing. So we took a deeper dive and we did monthly averages on items such as first paint, interactive page, and number of page bytes. So if you look at this slide, we can easily see that the page bytes were increasing along with latency. Trending can also help us on where do we want to be. We need to look at trending. Sometimes it can lead to other discoveries, as we can see here. One benefit we have in ingesting the data is that we can take our data, which is from a synthetic source, Keynote, and we can use our real user throughput, and we can lay it on top of each other. So in this screenshot here, we can see from 9 a.m. up to a little bit past 2 p.m., our requests per minute has increased. Overall, other with some of those spikes in our latency, we can see that it sort of stays steady, even though our request per minute increases. At times, the NOC is asked for specific data on demand, whether it be from a dev team, from management team, and we're able to give that to people with an easy click of a URL which just hits our internal site. We can give them data such as this. If they have one item of data, give them an average over time. Or we can give them multiple on-demand metrics. We can also present some data in the table, classic table. And one interesting request we had was, give us our 5 fastest and 5 slowest points within the last 4 hours for one of our websites. I think everyone can see that in there. And it is interesting to see which geographic locations are fastest for us and slowest for us. So looking forward, we want to allow Keynote UI access to other teams, even though we are very happy to offer per request data tables or URLs that have data which people request. We think that we need to offer Keynote access so that people can go on at will whenever they want and see what's going on with their specific application. We're looking more into mobile. The market is starting to grow for us. From a NOC perspective, we are not charged with monitoring mobile transactions, at least not yet. And we're going to continue to get the best value out of our measurements and keep diving into these measurements to see what they mean, so what our trends are, short-term, long-term. Now I'd like to open up this section for any questions people may have. And Katie, if you can come back online to facilitate questions, that would be great.
Sure. We have a few questions already. Just wanted to remind everyone who's on the call to open up your group chat widget if you haven't already done so, and you can submit your questions for Mike that way. Just put a Q in front of it so we know that it's for him. But let's see. So we have a question from Stephen. What technology is being used to compare Keynote metrics against data sourced elsewhere, such as requests per minute?
Stephen, that's a great question. What we use is for requests per minute is we use New Relic. And we take that data and we put it into Graphite as well as our Keynote data, at least for that overlay that you saw earlier, and just have it on a screen in the NOC that keeps updating every 1 minute, I believe. Next question.
Terry asks, cell sounds like a domain-specific terminology. When you have the opportunity, can you define it?
Sure. Cell is just a silo used. It's just a way of dividing one of the services that we have here, which is pretty interesting in a way, because if one cell goes down, I believe in the screenshot we broke it into 12 cells. If one cell goes down, it doesn't give us a 100% outage. It gives us a 1/12 outage for that specific service. So it's just the term that we use in-house here. We could call it silo or anything else that would mean the same thing.
How do you monitor your third-party suppliers, such as CDN or plugin providers?
There, I think we use Akamai here, and we just have basic health checks against Akamai. Other than that, some third parties that will have issues we can see in the waterfall graphs that we have in our Keynote monitoring. Sometimes, a lot of times, we get calls from customers. Of course, our goal, or any goal of an organization such as us, would want to be able to identify issues before they happen. But the customers are using the product constantly. So I would say a good percentage of times we do hear from the customer first.
Do you utilize real user monitoring as well as Keynote?
There is some real user monitoring within New Relic, but we are currently looking for a run solution. And Keynote/Dynatrace is one of the solutions being looked at and considered, but that's not within the realm of my responsibilities.
Gregory wants to know if you find Keynote 6 usable, or do you just stick with Keynote 5?
That's a great question. And I think it's great because that's not even something I pay attention to, is the version. We just keep using it. We keep putting more measurements in, and it gives us what we need. So I have not even considered having to upgrade or checking if we are upgraded.
How do you work with your development team to deal with issues you find in the NOC?
Well, here at Constant Contact, we have the development teams are many, and we have constant communication with them whenever there's issues. There are no walls to break down. We do have escalation lists. We have chat rooms that we use, or we can just walk over to someone's desk. It's a very open environment. You know, like I mentioned, there just aren't many walls anywhere here. An interesting culture. It's very relaxed. The customer is always first. That's just the culture here.
Another question, how correlated are the issues you catch in the NOC with releases or change?
Can you repeat that question? How correlated are the issues you catch in the NOC with releases or change?
Yeah.
All right, is this getting off regarding Keynote or out of Keynote? Well, I'll answer. Of course, I can't get an answer because I'm just talking to the phone. So, well, yeah, I'm with you. In Keynote, we only see bumps in latency with releases. It's very, very infrequent that a change or a release that is done at Constant Contact causes a major outage with a service. I believe that in 2014, we had over 500 deployments, and I think we had 10 or 11 that caused some sort of bump with any production service.
Ronald asks, is Keynote useful for troubleshooting down to a specific cause of a problem?
Yes, it can be. We had an issue sometime in the past few months where Adobe had released a deployment that caused some circular action in some of our test and target solution. Because of that, we could not, it wasn't a very evident thing to see that there was a cyclic issue happening. But when we looked in to Keynote and we did our waterfall graphs, it was evident right away. Normally, we'd see about 30 assets in one specific waterfall graph, and we saw over 2,000. And it was easy to identify that there was a loop happening, which of course was causing distress to customers and to our services. And then our development team reached out to Adobe. They happened to have a relationship with them. So they were the people who called out, and they took care of the issue.
Well, that looks like all the questions that we have today, Mike. So I'd like to just thank you so much for presenting such an outstanding webcast to our audience and sharing your knowledge and expertise with us.
You're very welcome.
And before we close out, we'd like to once again thank our sponsor, Keynote, and let you know that Keynote is trusted by some of the world's best-known brands to help them make every digital interaction count. Now a part of Dynatrace, Keynote offers cloud-based testing, monitoring, and performance analytics software or solutions for web and mobile. Their customers analyze more than 700 million mobile and website performance measurements each day to keep their apps and sites both reliable and delightful for users. Thanks everyone for joining us today. We'd like to invite you to visit webcast.o'reilly.com and take a look at all our upcoming webcasts. We have lots of events coming up. They're all free. And you can also sign up for our newsletter. It comes out every week and it highlights what is happening in O'Reilly webcasts. We'd also like to remind everyone that our Velocity Conference is coming up October 12th through 14th in New York City. And if you've enjoyed this webcast and you're interested in these topics, Velocity is probably the conference for you. So I'm going to put the URL for our conference in our group chat right now so you can take a look, and hopefully we'll see you there. Thanks again for joining us. This will conclude our webcast today. Goodbye, everyone.